And welcome to the, I almost said our guest's name. Welcome to the WLEC Sports Podcast. Today we are joined with myself, Payton Vince, alongside Riggs. We also have a special guest. Oh, all right, that was an echo. But we also have a special guest today, too. With Parker Pierce being out of action because of work, we have a very special guest. We have Justin Doan of Doan's PS2 Reviews. Doan, it's been years, it feels like.
Dude, it's been way too long. We need to hang out and eat some pizza rolls right now.
But we have to do it for 6 feet apart or else people get mad.
That's fine. We can toss them at each other. Let's do it.
Yeah, toss them right now. Pizza roll. Ready? Catch it. Ready?
Alright. I don't have one, so just there you go.
There we go. Perfect.
That was great.
But anyways, we're here. We obviously, as I mentioned, we have a Get in the Ring segment. Doan's PS2 Reviews. We're going to get to it. What the competition's going to be. It's going to be Justin Doan, other side, and Riggs, mano y mano. But first, the tip-off. We have Floyd Mayweather against Logan Paul in a boxing exhibition set for next February.
Okay, what I'm going to get into this, honestly, everyone asked me, did you watch Logan Paul or the other Paul person from some suburban in Ohio beat up little Nate Robinson? No, I didn't, and I truly didn't care for it because I know this is nothing but a money grab, and it's all for charity. Maybe I'm just too aggravated nowadays what 2020 did to me, but if I want to watch someone box, you better go out there and you better beat the hell out of each other. Seriously. The whole Mike Tyson fight, I didn't see that, but Floyd Mayweather, to get back on this subject, I feel like Floyd Mayweather is just going to show, hey, I don't care how old I am, my cardio is still better than you, and I'm here to make money. So I just look at this as an entertainment aspect, and I would not take this too serious.
And then, Doan, what are your thoughts, obviously? I mean, obviously, we're all wrestling fans here. Boxing, not as much, but I mean, you got
I'd watch boxing.
another YouTuber, which is amongst your community, obviously, and ours, in Logan Paul against Floyd Mayweather.
Well, would I get in the ring and fight Floyd Mayweather for a lot of money? You damn right. So he's smart in doing that. Is he going to get his butt whooped? Yes. He's going to get destroyed, no doubt about that. And he's lucky that they're making it no knockouts because he would probably get killed.
That's very valid. Honestly, the thing is I'm intrigued by this. I hope that Floyd Mayweather toys with the Logan Paul for a while.
He will.
And then, very reminiscent of, the Conor McGregor fight, I think. But instead, McGregor was actually a fighter, and Logan Paul is, he kind of looks like it, but he also looks a little chubby, too. But what am I supposed to say with anybody that's weighs under me, probably? But don't mean to be judgmental by any means. But anyways, we have the tip-off, obviously a quick and simple question, because obviously I wanted to actually hit on that because that's something so random that you have Floyd Mayweather fighting some dude that was a YouTuber, is I guess, out of the two of them, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jake Paul is more of the POS than Logan Paul? I don't know.
No, I've heard Logan is the bigger piece of crap, but they're both pretty big pieces of crap, honestly.
I mean, there's just... I wish I knew more about it, but the fact that you had Nate Robinson against Logan Paul, I think that was something cool. And Nate Robinson, who isn't a boxer by any means, and neither was Logan Paul, it makes sense. And I like the fact that he got mainstream attention for the Nate Robinson challenge, which just happens to be you laying down, being knocked out. But on that note, though, we obviously have Get in the Ring. We're going to make this one quick and simple because this is more focused to Justin Doan himself and his PS2 reviews. There's a reason why we have him on, but we'll get into that after Get in the Ring. But whoever wants to go first, it's Justin against Riggs. It's PlayStation 2 against the original Xbox. Who wants to go first? You got 30 seconds.
Please let me go first.
You go first. It's your show. Go. Let's hear it.
All right, ready?
Okay.
Give me a ding ding. In 3, 2, 1, ding ding.
I love the original Xbox because the way the controller feels in your hand. And if you complain about the way the controller feels in your hand, then I'm sorry, you must be a newborn baby or a toddler. I love the fact of being a wrestling fan, I can download music like Alter Bridge and whatever I want to that big CD drive and have my creative wrestler come out to that. I love the fact that I can play music while I'm just playing video games or on the main menu. That game taught me Halo. That game taught me Gears of War. Well, that system in general. The main menu of the original Xbox, I feel like I'm inside of an alien womb's vagina getting ready to be born.
Alright, that was time. Ray's got 3 points. On the other hand, we got Justin and his PS2 games. Doan, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, a ding ding.
Alright, let's go. We've got, first off, Ratchet and Clank, one of the best games ever of all time, and yeah, nowhere to be found on Xbox. Also, I'm pretty sure you could toss a PS2 down the stairs into a bucket of water and it would still work. If you place the Xbox the wrong way, it's not going to work for the rest of its life, so that sucks.
That's a fact.
The controller does suck. I don't care what you say. You gotta have Andre the Giant hands to use the damn thing. It's terrible. It's awful. PS2 controller's so smooth, just like the PS1 was. But when they added the little things on it, man, that was awesome. And
Time.
let's just talk about the PS2. Games, like I said, Ratchet and Clank, amongst others. Xbox had Halo, but they just held on it for too long, and it was just like, okay, who cares about Halo anymore? When PS2 was pumping out game after game after game, that Xbox couldn't even touch. And PlayStation still does that with Xbox, so PlayStation wins all day.
So he went over his time. I forgot to mention, though, that he only gets 30 seconds. I feel like if not, he didn't pay attention, which is fine because he had 5 points. So being overtime, he got deducted 1, but he still wins 4-3. I mean, I've had an Xbox before, and I have broken it. I haven't actually. My dog knocked it down, and it was the long Ethernet cord for Xbox 360. Obviously not original Xbox, but that happened, and like I was playing UFC, dog comes running down, Xbox falls, right ring.
I've never in my life had a problem with an Xbox.
So mad.
I've had every single version of the Xbox from the original. Well, I don't have the newest one just yet, but I've never had a problem with them myself. But to each their own, and Justin Doan, you're the man, and I appreciate that, buddy. That was great. You're absolutely right, though. PlayStation does come out with bangers after bangers after bangers. And there's times where I am a little bit jealous of PlayStation, where I'm like, damn, they get more love than Xbox does. And my roommate and everybody just tells me I'm on the wrong team.
You know what would have been an automatic win, too, for Justin? Is if he said, keywords right here. Ready? 3 keywords. MLB, The Show.
Yes.
That's the key.
I could beat one for that.
MLB The Show was first done in 2006 on PS2, and it didn't get really good till like 2007, 8, 9-ish. But like, yeah, that's what wins me over, man. Xbox will never have The Show because it's always going to be PlayStation exclusive. That game rules, man.
And for Xbox, you had, what did we have? We had MLB 2K whatever, and it stopped at like 2K13.
Yeah.
So, I like baseball. I want to play a baseball video game. But speaking of video games, obviously Justin wins getting the ring here easily, which makes sense. Because I mean,
his forte.
Yeah, so I mean, he was arguing for nothing pretty much.
True.
But Justin, we have you on for a special reason. We've advertised you with your YouTube videos, your channel. This weekend, Saturday specifically, you have a very big event coming up, correct?
I do indeed have a big event coming up. Am I allowed to talk about it?
Absolutely, that's why you're here.
All right, yeah, it's a 12-hour live stream, and it started off with a buddy of mine. He said, let's do just like an hour-long live stream where we play ping pong for charity, and I said, no, let's do 12 hours, have bands perform, comedians, let's get businesses to donate gift cards. He said, you're crazy. I said, no, and here we are 3 days away, and we've got everything ready to go. We've got enough material for the 12 hours. We've got, I'll tell you this, I haven't told anybody this yet. You're hearing it first right here. The head writer, Mike DeCenzo from The Tonight Show, will be on the stream this Saturday. It's going to be insane. Like, everything's going well. Look at this. We've got tons of gift cards we are giving away this weekend from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. You're not going to want to miss this.
So when's this Tonight Show writer coming on? I'm very intrigued by that.
He will be on probably around 8:30 or 9 p.m. that night. Prime time hours. Got to have everybody watching for that.
Absolutely, that's awesome.
Wow, man, we're proud of you. Yeah, everybody, if you heard that here on the We Like Sports podcast, please, from 2 a.m. to 2 p.m., or what was those times
2
again?
p.m. to 2
2
a.m.
a.m. Exactly, guys. That's fantastic, bro.
It's going to be a variety of stuff. We're going to have rappers. We're going to have folk writers, rockers, country singers, comedians. Ray Highclap, you guys know him? He'll be on.
Ray.
Yes.
Man, that's awesome. What other? I mean, so far, obviously, you don't want to spoil everything. But what part of the lineup can you give away that you're most looking forward to? I guess without giving out the whole lineup, so people still tune in and they enjoy it.
Well, we have a lot of the lineup already announced, but I'm still holding back on a few things. Comedian Kurt Braunholer, if you've ever heard of him, he's from Comedy Central. He's done voices on Bob's Burgers. I'm really excited. We are starting out the show with him. He'll be the first guest at 2:30, so you're not going to want to miss that.
Oh yeah, man! Look at you, proud of you.
We're gonna have. I'm really excited about this one. My buddy, who's a rapper, really good rapper. His name is Sarah Genesis. He'll be on as well as actually a guy from Ireland will be on. He is a Nirvana cover band. His name is John O'Connor, and if you close your eyes, it sounds just like Kurt Cobain. It's insane.
Okay, now your buddy, the rapper, because you know me when it comes to my flavor in rap music. So describe him, like his flow, like.
Think of we're gonna go with like a new age conscious type rapper, like a J. Cole type thing, but sped up.
Okay, that's why I like.
Really, really good. I think if you don't like rap and you hear him, you'll be like, wait, that's different from what I expected. I like it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So let me ask you this. Obviously, it's been some time. 2020 happened. We got COVID-19. We have Quarantine Dream. But what made you decide, besides probably having enough downtime with everything being shut down or not everything being open, what made you decide to do the Doan PS2 reviews? Because, I mean, honestly, it's probably more successful than you imagined when it first started, when you were probably just doing this for shiggles.
Well, I remember I was so bored and I was like, man, I want to get back into playing PS2 games. So my buddy had Guitar Hero Aerosmith. I was like, I love that game. I need to get a PS2 to play that game because that's one of my favorite games. And then I was like, man, I should do a review on this because I love it so much. And then I'm go big or go home. I was like, what if I reviewed every PS2 game ever made? And I was like, oh, that's going to be so much money. And then people just started giving me games when I mentioned the fact that I'm going to do it. I do my first episode. It's loved. Handing over games left and right. And now I've got a lot of games. There's probably 2,000 games. I don't have that many yet, but I've got enough games to last me 2 years of reviewing right now. And that's pretty crazy.
That is, bro. My so far my favorite video that you reviewed was SmackDown versus Raw. And that video game got me through some long winter days growing up. Just that, I can even think of that soundtrack front to back in my head. The gameplay, the GM mode.
You talking original SmackDown vs. Raw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like when you reviewed that out, that was the first, maybe first or second video that I seen. I was like, okay, my boy's out here doing something, and it was just ironically wrestling, something that I know me and you both, well, all of us enjoy. So, and then the baseball game and everything, like
MLB The Show. That was probably by far the one that we played with MLB The Show. And the funny thing is, too, is that I forgot about it because I watched that originally. And, like, the fact that you had so much fun with, like, MLB The Show and, like, the NFL one. I think it was the 2K game when you had, like, the whole entire Mike Pylon and, like, you had every, like, character and you have fun with it, too. Like, that's the key, is to build your own brand that we're all doing here. And you have fun with it, and it's not just, oh, this is the video game, here's how it's played, that's it, see you next time.
Well, for me, I want to do things that I know I'm going to like, and I want to do it differently. Like, I could sit down and review a game for an hour or 2 hours, but who wants to watch that? It's been done. It's been done hundreds of times. But what about a quick 3 to 5 minute review with skits, comedy in it, get right to the point, boom, and they're like, that was really good, I want to watch more. And the fact is, I've heard people say, oh, I've sat down and watched 10 reviews of yours. I like that better than I watched one review, maybe I'll watch more, you know?
Right, exactly.
like in what you said, like, your reviews are so much more different than everybody else's reviews. You know, like, you have skits, you have comedy, like, you keep everyone on their toes, you know, and you have your own formula, and that's what makes you unique compared to anyone else's. And I would say this even if I didn't know you personally, you know? So, like, that's great shit. That's good stuff.
fun.
Dude, I was under the influence, and I seen that, and like my heart, I felt like reality like skipped a beat for a moment.
Hold on. Tony Hawk was a part of one of your reviews.
Yup.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like in my underwear on the edge of my bed, and I'm like, I woke up and I seen that on you. I was like, what?
So like, I mean, obviously, and this just blows my mind because like, no matter what social media is, it's difficult. Well, it's not difficult, but it's not easy to get a guest like that throughout the show. I mean, your Tony Hawk is kind of like when we had Zach Plesac and like Payton Hillis, and it's like you have to grind for those opportunities, but if you get them, there's so much.
I'm sorry.
Damn.
That's great. I love that.
I was not gonna let. I'm sorry. Keep going.
But you have to grind for these opportunities, and you end up having Tony Hawk on. And I'm pretty sure, like, it didn't take one tweet or one Facebook message to get him, you know?
Right, and that blew my page up. I had over 5,000 views in a matter of an hour on that video, and so many. I think I had 20 or 30 shares in an hour, and then I promoted the video, and I got even more, and just more followers from that. And then there's one guy from that video who I didn't even know. We talk all the time now, and it's kind of cool, actually.
Nice.
That blows my mind. That like,
Right.
social media, like, let's think about this. Like, let's think in the era of PS2. Technology wasn't as, like, extreme, but, like, if you looked back when PS2s first came out, and you looked at now, the time period we're at with technology, like, I wouldn't imagine when I was 10 years old playing MLB The Show or any PlayStation 2 game that I'd have an opportunity to tweet Vladimir Guerrero and be like, hey, I loved you on the cover of 05, 06, or I think it was 05, but it's like, let me get an opportunity to talk about this, your baseball career, and this damn video game. Like, technology's advanced so much. It blows my mind.
I remember growing up and just hearing the intro to the start of a PlayStation 2, and that, I can't even reenact it, but if you turn on the PlayStation 2 your entire life, you know what sound I'm talking about. And there's days I still hear that in my head every now and again. I'm like, where do I know that from in my childhood? And then, whoop, PlayStation 2 would pop up. And another thing, how technology we come so far from. Are you guys happy that we don't have to deal with memory cards anymore?
Yeah.
Seriously, like I think a PS2 memory card.
Yep.
Like that. Yeah, like I'm so.
I gotta get a new memory card because I'm out of storage. Let me get the third one in there.
Exactly. Yeah. Or I gotta go into my storage and delete someone's Final Fantasy X. I'm sorry, Rob. But
so Justin, with your Doan PS2 reviews, I mean, obviously outside like the Tony Hawk one because that's probably the most important, the most special.
I gotta show him my birthday gift to myself before he gets out of here.
Well, go grab it while I'm...
Oh, it's already right here, but I was gonna let you finish.
But what was the best video outside of the Tony Hawk one that you've done in your opinion or enjoyed the most?
Birdman.
I'm glad you asked that because I had the most fun with my Backyard Wrestling 1 and 2 video. I honestly thought it was going to be just a man video. I ended up getting the creator of the game, Kevin Gill, to do a video, Nick Mondo, and Luke Hadley from the game. And the way it was put together, it was amazing. It got shared to ICP's website. I mean, it was shared everywhere. I was on all over websites, Twitter, a magazine in like England talked about it. It was pretty incredible, actually.
Wow.
And how long... I think this is going to be the process that we end up probably doing this in, is we're going to end up having Justin plug his stuff, and then you can show him the gift, and then we can talk about skating and reminiscing till next break. But Justin, for your PS2 reviews, where can they watch that 12-hour stream Saturday from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m.? And also, where can people find your stuff on social media, YouTube? Anything that you want to plug for your channel overall, let us know. Let our fans know.
All right, so if you want to watch the stream this Saturday, it's really simple. You can add me on Facebook. I'm Justin Doan. I'm streaming on Facebook and on Twitch. My Twitch is Doan's PS2 Reviews, and I'm on YouTube, Doan's PS2 Reviews, Facebook, Doan's PS2 Reviews, the same with Twitter and Instagram as well.
And whatever happened to that one contest from like December? Did I win that?
No, you did not win that. Sorry, but you can win something this Saturday.
From 2 p.m. to 2 a.m.?
Because, from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Because guess what? There's no Ohio State game
Can I just join you? Is that allowed from 6 feet?
Yeah, if you can come perform something, or you can just drink a bottle of mustard. I don't care. Do whatever you want.
Does it get me on air?
If you drink a bottle of mustard, you will be put on air. I promise you.
What are you doing Saturday?
Saturday, I don't know if I'm working. Because of I haven't talked to you in so long. Our whole Nickelodeon thing, dude. I watched this TV show called Head of the Class, and it had your boy Dan Schneider on there.
Wait, is that the new one? Like
no,
the new
this show was
Nickelodeon?
This show was from the late '80s, early '90s. Yeah.
It was back in the day, and Dan was actually kind of skinny. Not really, but kind of.
Right, beady eyes and everything. I thought of you when I seen that. I'm like, wow. But
Bro, yeah, that was like his start, man. What a guy. I love Dan Schneider. I know he's weird, but I love his creativity.
hell yeah.
So you're gonna show him the gift?
Okay, so I bought I feel like everybody should treat themselves, not cheat themselves on their birthday. So on my 33rd birthday, I decided to purchase myself something. Something from my past, something that I've always wanted, something that was released in the year 2000, and because of our boy Tony Hawk, I keep up on his websites. I bought myself the Falcon, not the Falcon deck. This is the Birdman 2000 deck from Birdhouse Skateboards.
Holy crap, bro.
Yeah, best.
It's incredible.
I'll get up. I'll show you a little bit more of it. But yeah, best investment so far I made in my life, besides a diabetic cat that I paid money for. But yeah, it's going up on the wall. He's got a few more that's coming out, like how Michael Jordan released J's every once in a while. Well, guess what? The Birdman is releasing skateboard decks that he had every once in a while. BirdhouseSkateboards.com. Not a sponsor. I love you, Birdman. You know that.
Bro, look at that. Is that royal blue up on top? That's so beautiful.
Yes, and that's the one thing I love. I love the deck art at the top too. Exactly. And I had to give my friend Greg the grip tape because I was going to grip it, and I didn't want to do that. So I figured you'll get a kick out of that. I'm going to hang that up on my wall sometime in 21.
You know what's great is that obviously we're a sports podcast, and Justin, I don't know about you. I know about you from a food standpoint, a PlayStation standpoint, but and also sports related too. But I don't know if you played organized sports growing up.
Yes.
Okay.
I've seen the pic. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a dumb question. Yeah, you did. But anyways, though, what I enjoy so much is that we always reminisce every now and then of back when we played our organized sports. And Riggs never played organized sports, so seeing his joy and just showing off the new deck that he got for his birthday is probably as close as we could get until we get him to play organized sports.
Yes, I agree.
I just don't want to be that kid. Yeah. I don't want to be that
33-year-old
kid out there in the outfield playing tic-tac-toe in the sand. That probably would have been me, but then my mother would have said some very cruel stuff, and I would have just cried off the field. Right.
Man,
I love you, Justin Doan.
Justin, could we... The first time that I hung out with you, we ended up having the Indians ALCS, I think. This was down at your house when it was Corey, you... Isaiah or Zay, who I haven't seen in forever either, and our friend or old friend Estefania, and we were watching both WWE's pay-per-view of Hell in the Cell and the Indians starting to lose against the Yankees in Game 4, and that was the first time I met your dog, Sasha Barks.
Yeah, here she is right here. Look at her. She's so sleepy.
My baby's over there asleep too.
And your cat's name's .com and his is Sasha Barks.
Wait, your cat's name is .com?
Yes, her name is .com. I'm gonna have to bring her on camera. I'm sorry, she's sleeping. She's gonna be pissed.
But while he's bringing .com on air, how did you come up with the name Sasha Barks?
It was back when we actually liked Sasha Banks, and we don't like her so much anymore.
I'm sorry, baby.
That's it's amazing the creativity and names that you could get with animals.
Oh, that's why I don't have children. I'll be.
Oh, quit waking your dang cat up. Let .com sleep.
I'm sorry. Yeah, she just sits and waits for me to feed her. I'm sorry.
And that's what I do. I sit and wait for Steph to feed me.
And speaking of which, too, obviously, you're engaged now. That was a part of your PS2 reviews too, remember?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Like, honestly, and no offense to this whatsoever, but I never expect you to be the engaged type, but I'm glad that you are, because...
Believe me, I didn't expect it either.
And Stephanie's good people. Yeah, she's good people's, dude.
And, like, the fact, too, that, I mean, you were a part of my 21st birthday, too, which was an amazing trip, too.
One of the greatest, funnest times of my life that day. Holy crap.
Oh, man. But, yeah, we're so glad that we can see you. I mean, obviously, with 2020 being the way it is, we obviously need to get together soon. I know that you've been wanting to do a PS2 review with us at the WLEC Sports Podcast, and we'd love to. So, we're going to have to organize something very soon with... reviewing sports, reviewing PlayStation games of the second generation, obviously. But we just want to thank you for coming on. Before we end up letting you go, Justin, what else do you want to say about your channel? One more plug, or about the stream whatsoever. Now's your time to shine, just like this whole entire day has been.
Well, I do want to tell Riggs, since he's been hitting up Tony Hawk's shop a lot. Tony Hawk and, what's his name? I forget. Pro BMXer are doing an autograph sale. What's his name? I forget his name. But there's $30 autographs for Tony Hawk on his website for an 8x10 right now, so you might want to get on that, Riggs.
Okay, well, dang, tomorrow is payday.
I've gotten, it's all for charity too, which is great. Speaking of charity, catch my charity event this Saturday. It's, all the money goes to Feeding America, which helps local food banks like the African Regional Food Bank and food banks all around the world. So that's pretty sweet. It's from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Tons of guests, musicians, comedians, skits, all kinds of crazy stuff. Celebrities will be on there. Giveaways. We're giving away gift cards like crazy. You're not going to want to miss that event. Check out Doan's PS2 reviews. I haven't been doing them this week because I've been busy with the charity event, but I will start back up on Monday, so that's going to be exciting. And yeah, find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, all with the Doan's PS2 reviews name. And yeah, that's about all I got.
And also, too, before we let Justin go, I want to thank him for taking time out, because he was literally saying, too, he was debating. He was like, I don't know if I have time to do this. I'm busting my butt organizing all this. I stayed up until 3 a.m. last night working on my PS2 review 12-hour stream, and he did the time to BS with us, even talk about his channel. And thanks, Justin, so much. We'll have to catch up soon. Love you, buddy. Absolutely.
Yes.
We'll talk to you soon. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be back on the WLEC Sports Podcast after this break. We'll be joined by Troy Baumgartner of BAS Broadcasting, 1450 AM and 99.3 FM. I think I got that wrong, but he'll correct me per usual. But we got Troy on. We're going to be talking Browns. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for the WLEC Sports Podcast. Riggs, make sure you manscape.
We'll be right back.
If you're
bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house bored.
Why not play with your balls? Our sponsor today, Manscaped, is here to make sure your balls are smooth while you or your partner are playing with them. Manscaped promotes clean hygiene when it comes to shaving your balls thanks to their Lawnmower 3.0. So a little side note, have you ever cut your balls while shaving them? I have, and that is painful. I would not ever do that again, and I would never shave my balls if it wasn't for Manscaped, because once I started using Manscaped, I no longer had to worry about the bleeding anymore. Also, for any new subscribers, you end up getting replacement blades refilled for your Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months, making sure your trimmer always stays fresh and clean. And for a limited time, subscribers get not only 1, but 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag, which is a $39 value, and a high-patented, high-performance, anti-chafing Manscaped Boxer Briefs. This is the perfect package for your perfect package. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SPORTS with a Z at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped. And use the code SPORTS. Make playing with your balls the best part of your day. Thanks, Manscaped.
And we are back here at the We Like Sports podcast with myself, Riggs, Payton Vince, Brian Fluke, producer on the ones and twos. Right now, we're going to be joined with our friend Troy Baumgartner, who's also a part of the radio station WLEC 4150 93.5. So
4150, it's 1450.
Ah!
See, it's 0 for 2 from both of us, but that's more of my responsibility to get right. But we're joined by Troy Baumgartner of the pregame with Troy Baumgartner. I feel like I messed that up the second time. Do I mess it up?
But anyways, getting his last name right.
WLEC 1450, 93.5. Troy, we brought you on today. I made a post earlier on in the week after the Browns had a dominant first half saying that if anybody wants to come on the show, feel free to. And you texted me and you said, make sure that you know that I did not unnotice your post. Or your post didn't go unnoticed. So we obviously we want to talk Browns today here because last time we were talking Browns. They weren't 9-3, but now they're 9-3. Troy, welcome back again.
Well, thank you. And Riggs, the FM side doesn't go up to 41, my man. It cuts off at 16.
Ooh, well, that's nice to know now. Thank you.
Yeah. It's all right, though. But look, we learn something new every day. Where's that the more you know shooting star right now? That's what we need.
Wow.
It's all right. We did the motion instead, which everybody knew if there's a graphic.
That's right.
But Troy, obviously, the Browns had a strong first half against the Titans. Baker Mayfield looked outstanding. I mean, he ended up having a record or tying Otto Graham with 4 first half touchdown passes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that going in?
Well, so the last time we talked, guys, remember we said it's hard to evaluate Baker now. And the one thing that we talked about at the time, didn't have a preseason, right? So those first couple games of the year, they're trying to understand the offense. They weren't able to work together in the offseason like a normal offseason. And now, even when Baker wasn't throwing touchdowns, the one thing that we know he's not turning the ball over, but he's going through the progressions more. And you can see he's starting to understand, and even his footwork. I mean, there was times where he was dropping back in that Tennessee game, and I was like, he's still my heart. I saw those moves on the dance floor, and my knees would be weak. So nice to see that he's truly grasping everything that the coaching staff from Van Pelt to Stefanski, what everyone's trying to get to him, and the fact that you're seeing that, and there's still going to be haters, right? I mean, that's the thing. That's fine. What did Browns fans say before? Oh, we just want to talk about the playoffs. Let's just. I don't care how we do it. Let's just get there. Well, then here we are talking about the playoffs. There was Baker Mayfield didn't look good against Jacksonville. He missed guys. Okay, did you see those dimes that he threw against Jacksonville? Yeah, sure, he missed some bad passes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It happens. We saw Patrick Mahomes do it this past week. Now, Baker Mayfield, I don't think his ceiling's ever what Patrick Mahomes is right now. But you don't need him to be. And I think that's the ultimate point. Yeah, sure, we drafted him number 1 overall, but you just need him to be capable of taking the game over for you like he did. And that's the running game, the running game was essentially non-existent in the first half.
Yeah.
And that to me was okay, the Titans said, Baker, come and beat us. And he said, all right, where's my money? Let's go. I love it.
Dude, I loved every moment of that game. Watching that game, I seen the confidence and the spirit get taken out of Derrick Henry during that whole game. Just seeing his body language, seeing the way he was trying to carry the football. I love the fact that this game, that we did not rely on the run game as much. Baker shows, look, I have weapons. I can beat you with the ground game, and I can beat you with the air. And a big shout out to Peoples-Jones for that 70-plus yard pass right there. This is the best football I've seen so far in my life as a Cleveland Browns fan. And no matter what happens, I'm ride or die with this team. We can make it to the playoffs, and we can get that ass whooped, and we can get eliminated. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. I'm just happy seeing progress and progression for this football team. And I can see we can build off that shit, dude. Dead serious.
And I like what you said there, Riggs. And what I like, too, is the fact that Stefanski went back to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Remember, Baker could have had that on that first series. They got a field goal. Peoples-Jones
Mm.
And they went back to him, and that's Stefanski, man. Like, you want to talk about changing the culture. The guy, like, if they go to the playoffs this year, put a statue up for him, like, after the season's over, because he's changing the culture. But I want to say this, guys, and this is something that nobody's talking about. What is the biggest difference this year in terms of, like, at this point of the year, what are we hearing about? The dysfunction, right? There's no dysfunction there in Berea. And look, this pandemic, make no mistake, this pandemic is terrible. But Jimmy Haslam is not there. He's not there. And he's kind of been that dark cloud over this team.
I've not heard his name one time.
And the thing is you hear about the rumors of him trying to poke it around, like, oh, we're, talking to the front office, and then going to the coaching staff and saying, well, they said this and all that, like that little high school girl, and you don't have to worry about that right now, and that's the best thing. And now that this team is winning, I don't think we ever have to worry about that. I don't want to say ever again, but I think that Jimmy Haslam now can see from the outside, okay, this can run just fine without me getting involved in it.
Exactly, man. Like that, we don't need that drama. Like especially being a Cleveland sports fan, because that dark cloud will find something to complain about because we're just not used to being in the spotlight. Also, who also had a great game, who I think has been showing out without OBJ, is Jarvis Landry with that nice footwork on the first the first touchdown we got in the game. How he just happened to just keep his feet in the end zone. And I always ask myself, why the hell do wide receivers have to work on their footwork so much? I can get running up the field, but why do they have to just be so precise? Then I actually see the instant replays and I see their feet inside the judgment lines and the pylons, so I get it and I understand. And I just love the fact that we're balling so great. And Baker Mayfield says that we still have not played our best football, and that kind of scares me to see what the hell else can we do.
Well, I have to say that Jarvis Landry probably didn't have the best footwork on a catch. We got to give that to our man Baker Mayfield, right, on that throw from Jarvis Landry. I mean, that was pretty smooth over there on the sideline. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, you got to get Jarvis involved, and they're managing to find a way to do it, and they're doing it, and Baker's spreading the ball around. I mean, he's finding everybody. Everyone's getting a touch, and yeah, I mean, you got to get Jarvis involved. He looks so much better after that bye week where he was, with the ribs and everything else. It looked like that did wonders for him. And I'll tell you this, like, as good as this offense is, I am curious on what it would have looked like if Odell Beckham Jr. could be there. I know the other side of it is, okay, do we need OBJ? You'll probably have a lot of people making an argument against it, but I mean, I still think OBJ is one of the most dynamic wide receivers in this game, and I think now you just kind of go back to where we were with Baker his rookie year, right? You said, okay, Baker's starting to get it. Let's throw an elite talent with him, and I think now that Baker understands this offense a little bit more and understands I don't have to get Odell Beckham Jr. the ball or feel like I have to give him the ball every time, I think that next year, that's where I'm going to say this offense is going to be real scary. But I'm enjoying it right now. I think everyone should enjoy it right now.
Hell yes.
And Troy also, too, I mean, there's so many media personalities from a national perspective now with the Browns. Like Rex Ryan saying that if Baker Mayfield could play the same way he did against the Titans, the Browns could possibly win it all. But then you have Colin Cowherd, who's been sour on Baker Mayfield for the longest time, and him saying if he plays that way like he did against the Titans, Browns might win a playoff game. Cleveland's getting attention again for football, and it's also December.
I don't want any of those guys on the bandwagon. Get the hell off.
Thank you.
I have to say it.
Thank you.
Don't come back after Baker, he puts an egg on your face. Like, you know what? Baker always had this talent. Y'all always went against it. You wanted to say whatever you wanted. You said it was all on Baker. When it was clear, it was the coaching staff that was the problem. So I to me, you know what? And I'll say this: there's only one person that I know was ride or die with the Browns, and that was Jim Rome, and he's still on it. So give a shout out to Jim Rome. He's been with the Browns this whole time, and even when it was bad last year, he was still with them going into this year. And so, you know what? Get the hell off the train. I don't want to hear you guys talking about the Browns in a good way.
Yep.
I shouldn't say that. I do enjoy it, but you know what? Like, I saw you guys trashing it, but I collect receipts. I'm petty enough to collect receipts.
Thank you.
I got your receipts, so I will remember that. And Colin Cowherd, like, get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm. I want to smack him in his face. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry, but like, no, bro. I. Oh my God, Troy, you're so awesome.
It's a virtual slap. It's a virtual slap because, with pandemic and all that, we got to keep ourselves from this.
6 feet slap.
Right. Yes, dude. Keeping receipts. Yes, everyone needs to just get off the bandwagon. Like, I work with this kid who says he hates Cleveland football. He hates Cleveland sports teams, and I look at his age, and I'm like, well, since you've been born, all you're just used to seeing is a losing franchise. And that's the thing I feel like that sucks too, is just that you're breeding a younger generation to become fans of other teams, because like this guy doesn't know, this young kid that I work with doesn't know how good his hometown football team really is, because he's not used to it. And that blows my mind, man.
Well, and that thing is too is, I myself, I'm in a group text with my buddies, and we're always like, we still have that old Browns kind of ingrained in us, right? So where you watch, we saw earlier this year with the Cowboys, we're like, oh man, here we go, the Browns are going to find a way to lose this game. The Titans, like, they fumbled the ball, and I'm like, oh, wait, hold on a second here. There's been so many times in these games and these wins that you're like, okay, here come the old Browns again, and they continue to prove over and over again that that's done, and that has a lot to do with Kevin Stefanski. Like, if you guys haven't, go back to watch when it came out that Baker did fumble the ball after the free play. He goes to Baker and just like talks to him like, hey, it's fine, it's cool, and like guys respond to that. Like, guys are responding to Kevin Stefanski in a way that no other players have done before, and that speaks volumes about the job that Stefanski's doing. We got to give credit to Andrew Berry too, because there's no egos, and that's the one thing we haven't been able to say with Browns coaching staff or front office. There's always been egos, and right now, all of those guys, if they do have egos, they're checking them at the door.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I was having a conversation with my best friend about, I feel like whatever happens at the end of this season for the Cleveland Browns, I honest to God, in my hearts of hearts, feel like that Kevin Stefanski should be Coach of the Year of the National Football League. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased, because I'm a Browns fan. I don't care if I'm a Bills fan or a Niners fan. Just to see a coach come in there and change a whole culture of a team over 1 year and make them a winning franchise at that, you deserve to be Coach of the Year. Rather you make a deep playoff run or win the damn Super Bowl. You are Coach of the Year regardless.
Well, and here's the other thing too. Just like in the preseason where they couldn't really be together, they now, because of these new COVID guidelines, they're not together on Monday or Tuesday. Okay, so he's doing all this with really just a couple of days of really like hands-on, with these guys. So the fact that he's doing this, the fact that he's changed his culture, and the Browns are having this huge success with a brand new coaching staff, brand new front office, and the fact that they've been so basically with one hand tied behind their back, how can you not give it to them? Like, how can you not say, look, what Tomlin's done with the Steelers has been fantastic, but the Steelers were already good.
Yep.
The Browns, they had the talent. They've always had some teams that have had talent, but they've never been able to make it work out on the field. Stefanski is just doing everything right, and I don't know how anybody can just say, like you, Riggs, I don't think how anyone can say, nope, he does not deserve it.
Absolutely.
And honestly, too, coming from a Steelers fan that has Mike Tomlin, and yeah, I know they lost to Washington football team that doesn't even have a name, but if I have to pick between the two of them, and this is even coming from two teams within the same division, Kevin Stefanski, who hasn't been proven, that was an offensive coordinator, that very well can end up having the Browns be 12-4 or 13-3. Who knows at this point? I'd rather have him be Coach of the Year because he's more deserving than Mike Tomlin at this point.
Yeah, it's blatantly obvious that, again, the culture's been established with the Steelers, and the fact that the Browns, and remember how poorly the season started for the Browns to where they are now, and even give Joe Woods credit for the defense. It's not been, it hasn't been great, right? It's been opportunistic, and that's what it has to be, because there's not a lot of talent there. But think of all the guys that they're missing because of injury, and think about when Myles Garrett was down. This whole coaching staff really has just blown me away. And look, I'll come out and say it. I predicted the Browns to finish 6-10 this year. I was just worried because of all the offseason not being able to work together and all that stuff. I wasn't sure if Baker was going to, early on in the season, I didn't know how it was going to play. I know the schedule was supposed too. The defense was going to be a problem, and now here we are. They're 9-3. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, honestly, I have to like almost remind myself daily that the Browns are 9-3.
Yeah,
because of how bad it's been for so long. Like, here we are talking about the playoffs instead of talking about the Browns and if they should get a quarterback this year or how they're going to draft with one of the top 10 picks this year. Like, this is a beautiful time. And you know what, Browns fans, don't let anybody else talk you and tell you anything otherwise than enjoying this moment. Because so many of us, and Riggs, you and I we're the same age, so you and I haven't really experienced it like some of these older Brown fans have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been terrible, man. I mean, it's been brutal to watch. And how can you just go and say, oh, well, Baker sucks, or you find a way to nitpick this team? Like, give me a break. Like, I get it. Like, nothing's perfect. Baker might have another bad game. I'm not going to rule that out. He might have a bad game Monday night. I hope not. But, like, just because he does doesn't mean that he's not talented. The talent's there. We've seen it. And they're maximizing his talent. And this is glorious. Just enjoy it. Drink it in. It goes down smooth. I promise.
Browns Giants.
Yeah, so you just brought that up too. Not only do the Browns, this is a change of pace for the Browns within these next upcoming weeks because you have a Monday night game that has meaning against the Ravens. You also have a Sunday night game against the Giants that was originally just Sunday afternoon, but they got flexed to Sunday night. Then the following week, I believe they play the Bills, and then they finish out the year with the Steelers.
Yeah.
The Jets and Steelers.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, because we're in New York for a week. You know what blows my mind about the Giants? I had no clue that Colt McCoy was still in the league. Yeah, he's their backup. Yeah, I had no clue. And he beat the Seahawks.
Yeah, the Seahawks, man, that's something else right there. And you know what? Not enough people are talking about that. You know, and like, the Browns are easy. And here's what I say. For the Browns fans who hate the national media, don't respond to the Colin Cowherds of the world, because they know when you respond, that means that their ratings are going. You're going to watch to see what they're stating negatively about the Browns, and we react more harshly when somebody talks bad about you than if people are talking good.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want those guys to talk about you anymore, just don't talk back to them. Because once you do, they're like, okay, this is working. Here we go. But the fact that the Seahawks right now have just been awful. Like, I mean, their defense has always been shaky at best, but now that their offense, I mean, Russell Wilson looked like an MVP candidate for like the first quarter of the season. Now he's kind of fallen flat on his face. Yeah, that's like, why are more people not talking about that? You know, but I don't know. But you know what? The thing is I'm excited. You know, the Browns-Giants game, you know, after Saquon went down, everyone's like, okay, that's going to be a win for the Browns. It's not going to be that easy anymore.
Right.
And so, you know, I like the fact that we're going to be challenged. The Giants have a good pass defense. We'll see what they do. I mean, and that's the glory of this right now, right? I mean, we're almost at a point where you tell teams, pick your poison. Okay, you're going to go and load the box. Well, Baker can beat you. And, you know, everyone's like, well, who are these other wide receivers? Well, got Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, you know, Harrison Bryant has struggled, but, you know, he's capable. You got Njoku.
He's been very quiet, Njoku.
Yeah, but you have these guys that can step up and have a big game, and Baker's not afraid to go to those guys. Cardero Hodge, I mean, the list goes on, and so it's like, pick your poison. Do you want Baker to beat you, who's now proven he's capable, or do you want the two-headed monster of Chubb and Hunt to come at you? Because we'll do it, whatever you give us. And that's the thing that I love about Stefanski, is he takes what you are going to give him. So if you want to load the box, all right, we'll find a way to beat you that way. So, you know, I'm looking forward to the rest of these games. And I think at this point, I mean, the Browns are, 97% chance of getting in, so they're almost a virtual lock getting into the playoffs at this point. So, like, let's just, see what happens, you know, and make sure that, you know, we are continuing this momentum into the postseason. Because if you get that 4-5 matchup, and here's the other thing too, I think aside from the Chiefs, nobody else is going to want to play the Browns in the playoffs. I mean, that last week of the season against the Steelers are now going to have to play like a full squad because
the game has meaning
in the postseason. Yeah.
And you guys don't have Marquise Pouncey, don't you?
I don't believe so. And I know that, like, what looked very rough for the Steelers and concerning is obviously James Conner is out for COVID. So, I mean, anybody could catch COVID at any minute within the Steelers squad. And also you had Eric Ebron, who cannot catch a ball within the last 2 weeks. He keeps on dropping, and that's not going to get you anywhere. And that Washington game, I mean, pass deflections, you have to be more cautious with the ball. And they didn't look like an 11-0 team against Washington.
I watched that game, and watching that Pittsburgh Steelers game, as someone that's not a Steelers fan, I can look and I can admit and say they did not look like themselves whatsoever. They looked like they just wanted to just, hey, let's just try to win this game, get on out of here. And I also think that that's cool that Pittsburgh lost right now, because what if they peaked too early? You know, and nobody wants to pull a 2017 Cleveland Indians. So maybe it's best that Pittsburgh Steelers face reality and lost to a nameless football team. I actually thought Buffalo was going to give them their first loss because they're looking so great right now. But, you know, I thought I had
also
something.
like the one thing that I want to reflect on too, Troy, with what you said is that this was going back to like the Seahawks and how you mentioned that if you aren't adding fuel to the fire, you're usually just going under the radar. And the thing is what Baker Mayfield was pretty much told to do this year is shut his mouth and just be quiet and don't add fuel to the fire. And you're seeing a result from that too.
Personality is accepted, production is required.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that.
Yeah, I think he lets these guys be who they are. You can be who you are, but you better go out there in the field and produce. So I don't want you running your mouth in the press or anything like that. I think that's why you keep seeing Baker do all these silly quotes or songs and stuff in these press conferences after wins. You know, that's great. You know, he's letting these guys be who they are. But you know what? You better come out ready on the practice field when it's time, when you're in between those lines. Better get your stuff together, because if you're not, then you're not going to play. And I love that. You know, and it doesn't seem like Stefanski has like that tough edge to him that we don't see. And the players respect him. And I think it's clear that they respected him from day one, because his big thing is, let's just go 1-0, and then you see the players like saying that we just want to go 1-0 this week.
Mm-hmm.
The players got excited about the Steelers losing, which making me a little nervous. But hold on now. And I want to go back to the Steelers for a second. First, I want to say Eric Ebron is the Mack Wilson of the Pittsburgh Steelers, where he's big on Twitter, but then production on the field every now and then. Although Mack Wilson had himself a game last week. But I think the biggest loss for the Steelers that we're going to see is Bud Dupree. The fact that he's gone, that other guy on the edge. I mean, TJ Watt's a monster. He's going to do his thing. But like now you can focus, just like, you know, for us, we could go, okay, you know, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. They had Bud Dupree and TJ Watt. Now you can focus that attention a little bit more over to TJ Watt. And the other part too is it's not just that they lost Bud Dupree, they lost Bush in that Cleveland game earlier this year. So they're hurting. They've got a lot of backup guys out there, and the Steelers will be fine. I mean, their defense is okay, but I mean, that's something to watch where, you know, Riggs, I think you're onto something. Maybe they were peaking early, and a lot of that had to do with health. So yeah, so here we go. Moving forward the next couple weeks, it'll be interesting. I think the Steelers ultimately will win the AFC North, but where does the seeding and all that fall? That's what's going to get really interesting over the next couple weeks.
Correct.
So, Troy, with what you've been known as when you've been on the WLEC Sports Podcast, you predicted the Rays against the Dodgers. What kind of bold predictions do you have for the Browns for the rest of the year, or maybe even the playoffs?
I just want to point out that I had the Dodgers in 5. Remember that crazy play where the guy fell on his way to home, and the Dodgers blew that throw to home.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they would have won that game, and the Dodgers would have won in 5. So I just want I'm a little upset about that. In terms of like a bold prediction, I don't. What are you looking for, Payton? I don't know. Like,
I'm looking for another Rays and Dodgers quote.
I don't know. The Browns in 7. I don't know.
All right, we'll take that.
I don't really have like a bold prediction for the Browns right now. I mean, I think that if you look at the schedule the rest of the way, you could probably say, I mean, this game against the Ravens is the biggest one, but you could say they get to 12.
Okay.
I don't think that's necessarily out of the question. I would say right now, if I was going to go bold, I would say 12. I would say comfortably, I could see this team winning 11 games. Now, I'm going to throw this out there, and I told you not to bring it up, but I'm going to throw this out there. It's not as bold as saying that Justin Fields is in a top 10 hit in next year's draft.
Shout out to Parker Pierce, who isn't here.
Right.
But, yeah, perfect timing on his part. You bring it up, and he's too busy bartending. Isn't that ironic?
I mean, a little too ironic. I'll just let that go, But Payton, you and I talked about that when the draft comes around, and no, because he said after the combine, right?
Yep.
He said the combine. Oh yeah, don't worry. Bring me back for the combine.
We also had the date too. It was like April, like the day after the combine and everything. But Troy, we'll definitely bring you back around. I mean, it's become natural at this point that like once a month or so that you end up hopping on, or twice, like every 2 months, whatever. But Troy, we want to thank you again for hopping on the We Like Sports podcast. I cannot speak. You could check out Troy.
Just write it all out. Just write it all out and let them know, because you can't say anything right. So just.
Could you say that part right there? Just say.
Just say you tagged everything and you're good.
All right, so we'll tag you, but I'm gonna give Riggs the close for this segment.
Troy Baumgartner of the pregame show with Troy Baumgartner on WLEC 1450 93.5.
There you go. So you can catch Troy and I. Troy, thank you once again, and I'll be seeing you later.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. Always go Browns.
Hell yeah, go Browns.
We'll be back on the We Like Sports podcast.
Manscaped. And we're back live here at the We Like Sports podcast with myself, Riggs, Payton, Vince, our producer, Brian Fluke on the ones and twos. But before we get started, I forgot to even mention this today because you hear me say it so much. Guys, Manscaped. Use the promo code Sports with AZ. I'm even wearing the t-shirt today. Manscaped. You got the Lawnmower 3.0. You can even shave in the shower if your name's Parker Pierce.
Or in general.
Right. You have ball toner. You have ball deodorant. And it even comes with a ball bag carrier. So if you're on the road or anything like that, just take it with you. But the most important part, your girl or your significant other will thank you. Manscaped, promo code Sports with AZ. We Like Sports podcast. We shave our balls. Why don't you? Manscaped.
We shave our balls. Why not you? Speaking of which, we mentioned it before earlier on in the Delight Cafe CBD podcast. We have the H podcast with us. We have Delight Cafe CBD. We have Brandon Croucher once again joining us. Not at First Stop in Parma because Parker Pierce is bartending there, but we have him via Google Meets.
Yay!
Man, I missed you. I just saw you like an hour ago, but I've missed you.
I miss you guys too, buddy. How you guys all doing?
We're doing good.
Doing great, man.
So, obviously, we had Troy on a little bit earlier, and we were talking some Browns. Obviously, who expected the Browns to be 9-3 and beat the Tennessee Titans?
Brandon?
Honestly, the Browns this year I think they look better without Odell. I think they're coming together stronger as a team because of the adversity of hearing everything. And personally, I think that we're going to see them beat Baltimore on Monday. And then we have the Giants. What's that?
I was just listening to the audio. You were doing your thing.
If you're not doing it on that Monday night, you just come over to the house and watch it with me, Brian,
That's a great idea.
me, Brian, the cat. What happened?
He wants to know if we can do it live.
Yeah, I don't care.
Monday?
Yeah, well, I mean,
What are you thinking? How did you feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers Monday night game?
So, I mentioned before in the last segment that the Steelers lost to a nameless team. It sucks. I mean, I'm more disappointed in the fact that Eric Ebron couldn't catch a damn ball. Honestly, it's like I've been saying, I would rather the Steelers lose a regular season game and go instead of going undefeated, because undefeated doesn't mean much to me. I'd rather have a ring. Obviously, I'm not going to get that ring personally, but I was a little disappointed. I got over it. What I found out, though, is that like usually if you end up having an undefeated team, you usually have a good coach. And there was something that stood out to me that during that Monday night or Monday afternoon broadcast that you had Mike Tomlin that has a very good coaching win percentage as a head coach at like 650, Bill Belichick that's at like 670, you had Don Shula in there, and then there was one more name too, George Hollis from 1934 when he was with the Bears. All these coaches that have had an undefeated season have not necessarily cemented their legacy, but they're just very, 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 very good coaches, and they're legends.
I agree. So, quick question for you. We're going to play a little trivia on you, Mr. Steelers fan.
Okay.
What is the highest draft pick the Steelers have taken since Mike Tomlin's been the head coach? Like the lowest. Like the Browns have many number one picks. So you guys, what is the lowest pick that the Steelers have had since he became the head coach?
I want to say like 13 or 15.
That's closer than I thought you were going to say, but you were 100% correct. It's actually 10. And what I mean by correct is they actually traded from the 15th position up to the 10th position, but 15 was actually their lowest they drafted since he was a QB, or since he was a coach.
And like the thing is too is that there's also like just the record the Steelers have had since Mike Tomlin's taken over. The worst that they did, I believe, was 7-9, but 8-8 has been consistent within like that time period at least 3 times. So 15th overall makes sense, but at the same time though, the Steelers, and what's concerning for me as a Steelers fan is they don't usually build offensively through the draft, specifically quarterback, because they're obviously settled on Ben. But if they end up drafting a quarterback, they're going to have to get a first-round quarterback when Ben leaves. Otherwise, they're pretty successful all around the ball from a wide receiver standpoint, running back, defense. Quarterback's very concerning for me, though, for the future as a Steelers fan.
Well, I can understand that. Well, with the last game of the season, we just heard the Browns were switched to a Monday night game versus the Giants after Monday. But was LeConte celebrating that?
Yeah, he was.
I can't see you guys. I just hear you, so I love it. I'm like guessing what your reactions are. But with that, I'm like, on that Monday night game, it's the Giants. We know who the Giants are. They might win their division, but at the end of the day,
That's a weak ass division.
What's that?
The NFC East is a weak ass division.
Yeah, like extremely. I think there's gonna have first under 500 team in the playoffs.
Huh.
Like,
No.
That,
I want to say, like, the Eagles or the Panthers at one point got in the playoffs for being in such a shitty division that they were like 7-9 or like 6-10. I think that'd be pretty close to what they've been having in the past, but there's been below 500 teams that have been in bad divisions that get in the playoffs, though.
That's true. That is, I didn't remember. I think 8-8's the lowest, but I could see a 7-9 and stuff like that. This year they're not playing good, but let's say at the end of it, let's say Pittsburgh does lose one more game, and then it comes down to the division. The last game of the season is Browns-Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do they move the game? Because that's now, even if they lose 2 and we're tied at the same record with 3 losses, and I'm using that as just a vague example, they have that going on, and we're fighting for the division. Do they move it to the night games because it's such a big division and such a rivalry?
Hell yeah, why not? It's all about money, especially in a day and age where there's not that many fans allowed in attendance. What you're going to want to do, you're going to want to spike up those ratings. Hell yeah, I would make that a primetime game, and I would gladly drag my feet going into work tired as hell explaining that to my boss. Why?
So for week 17, if that does happen, there is no Sunday night game scheduled. Possibly for that very reason that you could flex that game to the night primetime spot. Honestly, that might be the only game that has playoff implications, especially if it's for the division. They very well should have that on primetime, easily.
Mm-hmm. I was like, me and you have spoke about this off camera a few times. Like I said, I'm like, there's so many teams out here that do not deserve these primetime games. They only have primetime games because of the big market that they live in. Cough, Atlanta. But now, I told you guys, if the Browns start heating the...
You can't be doing that cough shit with Corona
Oh
around.
my gosh. Oh, man. I lost my train of thought.
Atlanta, primetime games.
Basically, I said if the Browns start heating up, we deserve some primetime games. And I see that happening. And I'm happy about that. And can we turn down that volume? But yeah, that's throwing me off.
But anyways, though, obviously with like the primetime games, they're very well deserving. The fact that a game like the Giants and the Browns got flexed to Sunday night, that would be the good news.
It really would. That it's just so damn good being a Browns fan and just knowing that we're taking primetime games from people, or the league is now realizing that, hey, they're making noise. I'd rather get a good Nielsen rating from this team that's barely even there to this team that's always there and they're crapping the bed every Sunday or Monday night.
And I mean, another thing too that I want to hit on is it looks like we lost Brandon for a second, but we'll end up getting him back. So with that Steelers Washington game, Alex Smith already had pretty much, he almost lost his leg. He ends up playing, beating the Steelers that are undefeated, and even on top of that, he was playing like Kurt Schilling in the bloody sock.
That's what I thought of. Yeah, the Boston guy. Yep, with the bloody sock. And when I seen that, I'm like, man, like I hope that's not the leg that he had up
It was the opposite leg, which was good. Leg.
And it was Kirk Cousins' first game back. I believe, what was that, against Dallas? That was his first, and my nephew told me, no, I didn't say Kirk Cousins. Alex Smith. My nephew said, he goes, this is his first game back. And I'm like, really? No way, no way. Then I realized the injury that he sustained back in 2018. And I'm just, he's such an OG that he can take a 4-7 or 4-8, whatever the record is, Washington no-name football team, and he can beat someone who's a Super Bowl contending winning team. It shows you on not just any given Sunday, but any given day. And I really hope Alex Smith, nothing but success in the rest of his offense, because that man, he deserves so much better than the cards that he's been dealt with recently. Seriously.
I mean, honestly, you about wrapped up that topic with Alex Smith. It was kind of surprising, but I mean, obviously, when your leg's bleeding, that's a little concerning. But on another note, though, as the Jets are still 0-12, 0-11, they decided to not fire their head coach, but fire Greg Williams because his nutsack wasn't in the B gap or whatever, in the C gap, like Hard Knocks.
Basically, Derek Carr threw a game-winning touchdown while the New York Jets did a house blitz. The New York Jets, the worst team in the National Football League. He's back. Okay, you're there, Brandon?
Or so we thought.
But nonetheless, he can just join in on us whenever he feels pleased to. But Greg Williams gave the defense a house blitz to just destroy Derek Carr. And Derek Carr just threaded the needle and won the game with that. And then I read that a defensive player called out Coach Greg Williams right after that fact. And to whoever you are, kudos, respect, and you have big, big balls to do that. Because honestly, I felt like, hell, if my mother was a football coach, she'd have been Greg Williams all day, every day. And that's the honest to God's truth. Watching Hard Knocks and seeing Greg Williams just yell and be so aggressive towards his team. Yes, he's a coach, that's his job, but that would just motivate me and fire me up. But you take that and go to a different culture. You can't talk to some people like that sometimes. Or that way of coaching is just so out of date and it's so non-formulaic where you can lose respect quickly from your locker room.
So let me ask you guys this. So on that note that Greg Williams was possibly a Browns head coach at one point and everybody wanted Greg Williams instead of Freddie Kitchens, would you guys, as of right now, seeing how Kevin Stefanski is as a head coach, would you rather have Kevin Stefanski or would you rather have somebody like Greg Williams and the people around him like a Freddie Kitchens on the offensive coordinator side?
I'm cool with what we got right now. I truly am. Greg Williams, he can be the voice of reason in the locker room, but I don't want you touching that defensive line or trying to tweak nothing. No, you had your time. You were just very, very verbally aggressive, and I liked it, and it made me wish I was a professional athlete, but your schemes can only work in certain places, and it just didn't work there in New York for you, buddy. So more power to you. Save your damn money, and I hope you have a good rest of your life.
Is Brandon back?
Brandon, can you hear us?
Well, still waiting on Brandon at the moment.
So you know what we ended up doing? Taking a quick break, because obviously we want to get Brandon in for his opinions. I mean, we see his gorgeous face nonetheless, but I also want to hear his opinions because we have plenty of more football. We have Indians to talk about still with something that pissed you off at the gym, so we'll get into that a little bit more. Also, NBA's starting up in about 2 more weeks.
That's weird to me.
It's very weird, but we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll have Brandon come back, talk Indians with us, probably finish out the show if he has some time. But on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back on the WLEC Sports Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Also, make sure to use your ball toner, your ball deodorant, and your Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0.
Cafe Delight CBD.
Sports with a Z.
We'll be right back. Thank you. On the We Like Sports Podcast.
Welcome back to the WLEC Sports Podcast with Riggs, Payton Vince, and somebody that goes by the last name Hillis now on occasion too. We got Keith Migra - Hillis.
How's it going, guys?
Good,
Dude.
man. Really great, man. How have you been? How's your experiences treating you?
Dude, it's great, man. It's fun, but I was watching the show. It looks good, looks great. Everything was going good, but I miss it. I miss you guys.
Bro,
We miss you too, man. I know you've been doing the movie with Payton Hillis. You guys had in the backfield in Aurora yesterday with the meet and greet.
Yeah, it was fun.
So are you like a big shot in that autograph you gave me a while back? Is that worth something now?
It actually might be worth something. I signed a lot of autographs out there, so I mean, it was fun.
That's so weird, man.
Amanda said I
really
signed
is.
5?
What's that?
I said Amanda said I only signed 5, but...
Hey, that's more than me.
I would have autographed hers, K.
You want an autograph? I'm on here with We Like Sports people.
But man, hi.
Hello.
But yeah, man, like, say that again.
No, I just laughed. You're good.
Oh, but yeah, man, like I said, man, once again, we're grateful. Even though you're not here in my dining room or in studio with us sometime, I still shout out KM Voice. You were very humble and thank you and grateful, you know, just for you being us being a part of, you know, the KM Voice family, really, and just putting us under your umbrella and under your ring and just showing us the right way on how to do things, even though we could be knuckleheads at times.
No, you guys rock, man. I like you. I'm glad you guys are a part of all this.
Dude, there's one reason, too, and this is to get personal for a minute, too. Anytime Keith and I are on the phone, at any time, and there's always a meaning behind this, too. I don't know if you know this or not, but I don't mean to get emotional, but I don't see you anymore, man, but I want to get emotional.
I know, it sucks. It does. But the only thing is I was going to talk to you guys off air, whatever. I pulled some strings, and if you guys don't have anything to do this weekend, you're going to watch us film the movie.
Oh, okay. There is a possibility.
Good possibility. I'm off Saturday.
Come on out and hang out. And I'm going to be doing a podcast with Matt Tift. That's going to start here pretty soon.
Dude, it's so weird how much we grew all together. We like sports t-shirts. I still have yours, too. I haven't seen you or Tyler in a long time to give you your shirt yet.
Oh, shit, I need it.
Yeah, right? But
I need that.
when I'm talking to you, though, Keith, every time we end up getting off the phone, I always joke around, but I'm also serious at the same time. But I always tell you I love you, and it throws you off every time.
It's true, though. I mean, you want to know why it throws me off? Because, dude, like, we're all so busy. Everything's growing. And it's like, there's some days I'm like, man, I got to call these guys. That's why I wanted to call you today, because I haven't been able to jump on the show in a while. I haven't been able to, you know, to basically be like, hey, this is what we're doing. You know, I try to, you know, make time for everybody, but it's been so difficult. So I'm like, you know what? I saw you guys live on air. I mean, obviously I know what time you guys go on and stuff, but I'm like, I got to call him. I got to catch him off guard. But when I called you, were on break, so.
So I was catching you off guard on that note.
Yeah, you did. I was like, damn. I was just trying to. I was trying to be one of those dudes where, like, I wanted to interrupt you and see if, like, either A, you picked up on the, you know, on air, or you were, like,
character or something, right?
Like you hit me with ignore, and either way, I had a response for whichever one.
Oh, that would have been funny as hell. I wish I did.
Thanks.
But noted for next time, in case if I'm just around, I'm just going to hit ignore.
Well, there's big news coming for the We Like Sports show, too, and I'll fill you guys in on kind of what we're doing.
Hell yeah. Awesome, man.
I mean, you guys are going to be on a bigger platform next week, which is going to be pretty cool.
And also, too, as far as I know, there is a possibility you will be around next week, right?
No, yeah, I'll be on the show next week for sure.
Absolutely. So you heard it here. We Like Sports podcast next week, 7:30 to 9:30. We got Riggs. We got Payton. We got Keith Migra - Hillis.
Parker Pierce will probably be with us as well.
And Parker Pierce. So we got the whole crew back together. It's almost like Christmas. It's coming up quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But, Keith,
Yeah, for sure.
we're going to let you go. We'll obviously talk very soon. Obviously, you got to finish up this movie that hits theaters when again?
2021.
So, I mean, believe it or not, 2021's in like 2 weeks.
Well, October 2021.
Well, still, that's a lot more sooner than you'd think about a month ago.
No, yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely absolutely right. You're 100% correct.
But Keith, we will talk to you soon. Thanks for hopping on the WLEC Sports Podcast. I'm gonna do
Miss
it
you, bro.
like any other conversation. Love you.
I love you too, guys. I love you too.
See, I thought he was just gonna hang up on that one. Quick.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Guys, have a good show, and big things are happening, so stay tuned, especially with the We Like Sports show. We're going to have some big guests come on. Possibly Brandon Geyer's going to be on next Wednesday. How you like that?
Hell yeah, that's definitely
we'll
worth
see.
it. I love baseball, and speaking of baseball, that goes right into our next segment.
We'll see you guys later. Enjoy.
See you later,
Thank you,
Keith.
bro. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, on that note, we're going to take a very short break. Obviously, when Keith calls, something important's going on, and news is breaking. He's our beat writer almost at this point. But we'll take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We got about 25 more minutes left on the We Like Sports Podcast. Like I mentioned, we're talking baseball when we get back. We Like Sports Podcast, Manscaped, Sports with the Z, Riggs.
Shave your balls. We'll be right back. I do a sports podcast because my fucking testicles burn, baby. You fucking burn my urine. You fucking burn my urine. You fucking burn my wee wee.
Alright, so 1 second, okay?
What the fuck is wrong with me?
I don't know.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and keep you on real quick the phone here, and then we will go ahead and... Alright, so 1 second, okay?
What the fuck is wrong with me?
I don't know.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and...
Burn my urine. You fucking burn my wee wee.
Alright, so 1 second, okay? Is it live?
I Snapchatted him.
Don't fucking do that, you dumbass.
Who the fuck are you calling dumbass, you Tony the Tiger looking motherfucker? Ooh, .com. Just because you fucked that nigga on the fucking cereal box don't mean you gotta take that shit out on Brian. It was your dumbass that gave up that pussy easy. Oh man, what the fuck is my problem?
Everything and anything.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and hang up, and then I'll get you hooked up, okay?
Gonna burn my weed. God damn.
It'd be funny if Brandon just forgot we were doing this and he was just jacking off. Oh, so he can hear her. Damn. I didn't think he'd hear us.
Now we can.
That's funny.
Oh, damn.
All right, we're back. We're you just you'd be like,
It's like Bo Burnham. Bo.
Bo. Oh my God, Bo. Bo. Oh my God, Bo. Bo. Oh my God. Am I the only one that fucking likes soda? Bo. Oh my God. Bo.
I am Satan, Lord of Darkness.
Right. I think
Brent, can you see them?
Nope.
Can't hear him either.
I read his list.
He's
Bo
lying.
Bo Burnham had this show. I think it was like R.J. Burger or something. I think that was him. It was on. No,
It was some shitty movie he made.
Zach Brown's gonna be famous. He had his own show on MTV for a minute.
I could hear you. Hold on.
Oh, that's my old TV.
Brandon, talk.
Like, where
Let's talk about sex,
baby, let's talk about you and me.
Is that good or a little bit lower?
That's good.
Things that we...
Alright, so you cannot see them, right? You can't see them?
Nope. All I see is Brian Fluke.
Oh, so you can see him. Oh, all you see is Brian Fluke. Alright.
Like that thing.
Like your name.
Let's
Let me
talk
see if I can
about.
translate that real quick.
Ooh, I'm gonna eat your pussy, bitch.
Riggs, we're live.
Well, you got help. My sisters didn't hear that.
Talking about on the good thing, on the bad.
I wonder if I can't do it because it's running through OBS.
I don't know.
Alright, Brandon, you will be going live with them, okay? This time they will be able to hear you. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see them. If you want to go ahead and turn your Facebook on, mute it on your phone, you can see what they're doing, and that way you can see a picture, but initially, you'll be able to hear them better now, okay?
Yeah, I got you. I hear you now.
Welcome to the We Like Sports podcast with myself, Riggs. This is Payton Vince. Producer Brian Fluke on the ones and twos.
Brandon Croucher in the corner.
Brandon in the corner. He rejoined us. If you've heard a hot mic during the break, I wholeheartedly and humbly apologize from the bottom of my heart because I had no clue.
I just got a text from my mom saying nice mouth, Riggs.
Are you serious? Oh my God. So we're going to talk. Oh my God. Carlos Santana is on the Kansas City Royals now. So
we just found out about Riggs' personal life. Hey, at least they already
God.
knew about the sex swing, though, so I mean, that's a plus.
Peyton, you seriously got to talk right now. Like, seriously.
So, anyways, we have baseball news. We have.
Tommy the Tiger.
Anyways, we have baseball news. We were talking about the Browns last. Do you want to end up finishing up with the Browns, Brandon? Because you ended up cutting out.
I'm sorry, everybody.
They're going to move it. I agree with what you guys said. I jumped on Facebook and saw what you guys were saying. I agree with what you guys were saying. I think that Wakante hit it right on the head, and we're going to be able to, just like he likes his girls, that he will, I believe the Browns and that would get moved to the night game. Pittsburgh and Cleveland have too many fans not to bring in and draw huge attention.
You know what's funny, too? I'm sorry to cut you off and be completely off topic. But the one thing I noticed when that mic was hot, the views started getting up. And like people started tuning in. Because apparently that's what they like to hear.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
I can't believe he kisses his mom with that, or his sisters with that damn it, I freaked that up twice.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
Oh man.
Yeah, but when I was at the gym the other day, and I looked on the screen and I had my headphones on and I screamed WTF, and
Listen, you're just say it at this point. You're right.
no,
It's ironic that Keith says that there's big news too for next week's show, and you're like, yeah, unfiltered, Riggs After Dark.
but basically I was shocked, and I was shocked the fact that we let go of Carlos Santana. I feel like Carlos Santana was our everyday first baseman. He was solid, a fan favorite. I'm surprised you and producer Brian Fluke didn't hear me screaming from the dumbbell rack while you guys were in the gym office. I feel like he's gonna be missed. I see the identity and the core of the Cleveland Indians changing day by day. Sometimes I don't even recognize the team that we even have anymore.
I mean, to top it off with the Indians too, I saw this chart and it was about the fact that the Indians 4 or 5 years ago had a payroll of like $130,000. They're at $44,000 now.
44 million.
Yeah,
Get out, yeah. I'm like, hold on.
math isn't my my strong suit, so.
I'm just gonna leave it where you said it right there, buddy. I love you to death. Yeah, the Indians have a small payroll, but at the end of the day, like they lost their biggest money guy. He went and took over and bought the Kansas City Royals. Patrick Mahomes jumped on that as quick as he could to be able to be like, hey, I got this huge contract in this city. And the Indians' biggest guy that was putting money into this team and this city is gone now. And we have no business in Cleveland of people being able to put the money up to keep up and have the Indians keep up with teams like the Yankees, the Braves, the Dodgers. You know, we can't keep up with that. And then when you don't have big money teams coming back for it, it just keeps screwing more up.
Understood, yeah. And it's just, I just hope that, like, it's just crazy. Like, it's just like the richer you are, the more cheaper you are, from what I see in this aspect. And it's just, I wish that we could have, won the World Series with that core team, with your Santana, your Yan Gomes, your Lonnie Chisenhalls and stuff like that. Because, like, to me, honestly, like, there's older men out here that can tell you and name everybody on the 95 and the 97 Indians team. I kind of felt like that in a way with the 2016, 2015, 2017 teams, because they were just familiar faces that I've grown to appreciate. I even knew their at-bat music before they came up to the plate, and now it's just I have to get used to a whole group of core athletes coming to play. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and should wear my heart on my sleeve at the end of the day with that.
I forgot who I was talking to earlier on in the week, but we were talking about the Indians, and we were talking about the fact that I'm not a big fan of the Indians cutting payroll as much as they did, and they ended up having a valid point saying that the Indians' rotation should be, like, they have a good core rotation, that you have a good 1 through 5 starters. The only thing is you need offense on top of that. And the biggest thing that's concerning is that there's so many gaps with Tyler Naquin being gone, Delino DeShields. You got Oscar Mercado in center. Left is probably Josh Naylor. You have a gap at first base. Bobby Bradley's potentially your first baseman. And the last time he was seen, he had a rocket to right field. That's like 460. The thing is like, I don't want to talk about a rebuild, but it's becoming more and more reasonable in actuality. Mm-hmm. With the Indians having Lindor pretty much in arbitration, do you guys want to see Lindor at any point in 2021 or trade him before the season starts to get something out of him?
I would trade him and just get something out of him, because that's what the whole LeBron James decision kind of should just, as a Cleveland sports fan, we should learn from that, where it's like we can't rely on one person to make us happy or one person to change our entire culture and franchise. So you should always have a plan B. Okay, if he stays, that's fine. But if he walks, we have this team and this team on line 1 and line 2 to bring in these guys, and here's my trade bait. And I feel like every single sports team should just live off that experience and learn from it. You can't rely on one person, and when they up and leave you, now you're sitting on your hands, and you have to hurry up and build through the draft and everything like that. So, hell yeah, trade Lindor and get something for him.
I agree. I think that you have to trade him now, like this year early, and his value's too much. We're not going to get near what we should for him, and at the end of the day, like I said, small market teams like Cleveland, unless we build and go through our rebuilding all the time, it's like we never can actually. We hit the pinnacle in 2016. It's the only time we ever really wanted to I've ever wanted to hate Mother Nature, because at the end of the day, it was that rain delay that screwed the Indians. All the momentum was our way, and that rain delay took us out of it. And now we're rebuilding again. It's only been 4 years.
I hate you, but I love you for bringing up 2016. Because I was downtown. I'll say the story until my face turns blue. I was downtown in Gateway Plaza. Got a black eye when Rajai Davis hit that game-tying home run before the rain delay. Guy elbowed me in the eye, super apologetic, and I'm like, dude, this is going to be a story either way. And I was thinking that they were going to win and it would be a good story. Got a black eye. The next day, it's not the result. I got so mad. I saw some Cubs fan when I was at work at the mall. He's walking by. It's after like 3 weeks after the World Series. It's close to like a little bit after Halloween, a little bit before Thanksgiving. And he's walking by with a Cubs hat. And that was finally my moment of clarity, and I gave up on being bitter towards Cubs fans after 3 weeks. I saw him, I looked at him, and I go, you know what? I went, congratulations. I'm like, you guys deserved it. I'm like, I hate that I said that, and I want that to be us, but congratulations. And then he gets into the deep part of sports, that he was watching the game with his grandpa, and his great-grandpa was a Cubs fan and made him a Cubs fan. He couldn't see that, and it's been, since he's been around, that, like, and it was super emotional. I'm like, you know, I can't be bitter about this, because eventually that's going to be my story.
I love it. I agree with you. And the other thing is, I was a Cubs fan. They're my NL team. I like the Reds, and I like the Cubs. And the Indians are my hometown team, and I always love the Indians. But at the end of the day, if we were gonna lose the World Series to anybody, I'm just glad it was the Cubs.
I just didn't want it to happen on our field. That's the thing. Like,
shout out to Michael Martinez.
Me being superstitious and all, if you come here and you break a 102-year curse on our field, by the next season, you're not going to recognize Progressive Field, because like the aura, the energy of that, like, I don't know, like that's just me.
Yeah.
So
it's like taking Payton somewhere in public. You're never allowed to go back. It feels like you cursed the place.
Oh.
Remember that one time when we were driving and we had to turn around in that one place, and I thought that was not what it was. I forgot what I thought it was originally. I asked if it was a school, and it turned out to be something completely different, which was completely wrong with me. But anyways, that's not the point. So I want to end up talking about the fact that LeBron James actually said that he was hurt by Kyrie Irving's comments because early on, Kyrie Irving said, "This is the first time in my career when I look down and could be like, that MFer can make that shot too when it comes to having somebody else that can make that last second shot besides him." LeBron ended up responding back finally on the Road Trippin' podcast and said, "I was like, damn, the whole time while I was in Cleveland, I only wanted to see Kyrie be the MVP of our league. I only cared about his success. It kind of hurt me a little bit."
I can agree with that. And if I'm Kyrie Irving, I'm thinking, wow, okay, you've had that much confidence in me, and let's just not. I'm not going to the game with the shot, Game 7. I'm not going to that, but Kyrie Irving just needs to have more confidence in himself, and that's cool that he can step out of his own ego and say, I'm also just not that guy that you can rely on for the last shot. Now Kevin Durant. Wow. Kevin Durant does have longer arms, so his reach is more incredible. Hell, he's a tarantula when he's out there on that court. Like, seriously. So, I mean, Kyrie, that's just him recognizing good game. But it's also LeBron James saying, like, don't forget who the hell you are at the end of the day. Kevin Durant.
I think that's a good point. Riggs, I think you hit it right on the head with that. But the other thing is, I think that the Cavs, LeBron and Kyrie, I think the bad blood between them just spilled over too much. And LeBron's maturity is like, oh, man, I wanted to make you better. Where Kyrie, like, his immaturity is keeping it public with the two of them. Like, they need to both stop this and move on for everything, because as a Cleveland fan, I love watching them play. 3-1 coming back, absolutely amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you for the memories. But at the end of the day, Kyrie needs to play a full season again and stop, not be injured halfway through, even with a pandemic. And then let's see what you can do now that you have another superstar next to you. I want to see what Kyrie can do with somebody else like that wasn't LeBron and Kevin Love. I want to see him actually win on his own. LeBron did it in LA. Congrats. Yay. End of the day, I think Golden State's going to come back this year. I think they're going to look dominant as hell. I hate that, but it's true. And I think the Cavs are just going to be top 10 pick again next year.
And also the thing is, too, is you brought up another good point with the Lakers and LeBron winning the NBA championship. He ended up saying on that same podcast, too, that this quote, and it was kind of surprising, too, because as Cleveland fans, it kind of makes you a little bit more satisfied. But he said, one thing that I know for sure, that I've been a part of two teams that's won the two hardest NBA championships in league history, that being the Cavs and the Lakers versus the Heat, and how he pretty much has a lot of respect for those teams because it took a challenge, unlike the Heat, when he pretty much had it handed to him.
Well, he also did basically have it handed to him, but even though they beat San Antonio in 2013, and then I think deep down in his bones he knew if we see Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili in the finals in 2014, they're gonna beat our ass.
Yeah.
I felt that because like when Tim Duncan then won the Western Conference Finals that year, they interviewed Tim Duncan. Hey, what do you think? You're going back to the NBA Finals? He goes, I don't care. We're beating them this year. Like, he was so focused and so serious. And I think LeBron and D-Wade knew, like, hey, we got lucky on San Antonio. And plus, what, in 2013 when they played San Antonio, that's when the game was on. San Antonio could have won that series. They brought up the trophy and everything. But what happened? Mr. Ray Allen hit that shot.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah, San Antonio, that game was neck and neck. But Ray Allen out of left field on the corner. But man, like those were battles. I just don't like big market teams like Los Angeles. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's even though LeBron James won a championship there, LeBron James can win the next 2 championships in Los Angeles. But when I look at the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm thinking Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Shaq, Big James, Games, Worthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, LeBron James going there, it's like, dude, like you could have cemented your legacy as a damn Clipper instead of a Laker. Seriously, yeah. because the Lakers, they've already got that mystique. Like, if I'm such a competitive bastard at times where it's like, hey, my best friend thinks Danny Boys have the best wings. Well, guess what? I think this other place have the best one. I'm gonna at least try to be competitive. I'm not gonna just jump on that legacy bandwagon. That's just my
You
opinion.
have to try stuff for your own, too, and you have to end up having your own team. I mean, how many times, like, looking at it from a sports perspective, playing softball, playing a team in Strongsville, it's completely different than the team I play for in Lorain. Only, like, 2 guys from Strongsville I play with in Lorain. Completely different. You got to figure out which team you enjoy most, and sometimes it's about bringing people from other teams onto your team that you play with more often because you want to have that best team. It's gotten to the point that no matter what competition, you want to form some sort of super team because you want to be the best.
And that's another thing, too. And I'm going to call out Mr. James Harden right here. I feel like James Harden wants to leave the Western Conference because I feel like he's scared. I feel like because everybody knows once LeBron James makes it to the NBA Finals, whether he wins it or loses it, LeBron James will always find his way back to the NBA Finals, regardless. And I feel like Mr. James Harden is so afraid that he's never going to see the NBA Finals. That's why he's flirting with your Philadelphia. He's flirting with your Nets. He wants to leave the Western Conference to get away from LeBron James. And I feel like everyone else is going to follow suit because everyone else was happy when LeBron was in the East. Now LeBron finally won an NBA championship in the West. I feel like that's going to bother people. Like James Harden spent his whole career in the West, and he has not won the NBA Finals. LeBron James comes to the Western Conference in under 2 years, and he does it. That would piss anybody off. So I just hate the fact that the National Basketball Association is just super teaming up and everyone's squadding up. Like it blows my mind.
The players have taken control of the league. I agree with
Mm-hmm.
you. It's the fact that they plan that out now. They look at their friends and when they're at the Olympic Games and all that. Now, like Payton said, you're able to go and like you want to get the best players and all that. But the best players, why do you think they went to Miami? Well, Floyd Mayweather was there, but at the end of the day, Chris Bosh and LeBron went down there. That cost Toronto and Cleveland, and Toronto's a much bigger market than Cleveland.
Yes.
And then you turn around and look at how many draft picks in a row did we win the number 1 pick after he left? It was ridiculous. And the fact that we fall apart that much for one player and we can't be a city where players would want to come together and be like, let's go win it there, is why they have to have these separations of things. Because otherwise, your Strongsville team, if they paid more than everybody else, your Lorraine team, nobody would ever get to come out. You know what I mean?
It's definitely like a valid point. And then also from another perspective too, you could look at it with like if little Jimmy, some kid, who knows whose kid it is, but what if little Jimmy wants to play with little Timmy and they just all their parents are all good friends and they want their kids to be friends? You're kind of forming a super team in a way because you want to play with your friends too. And if your friend just happens to be good, that's a plus. But I feel like that's what a lot of teams do now. They play the buddy ball aspect that I want to play with my friend. I want to do this with my friend, and he pushes me better. I mean, and that happens too.
I agree.
Yeah, I like that, but at the same time, it's like, okay, let's say if before Michael Jordan won his first NBA championship, and he really wanted to win one, if I'm Larry Bird, it's like, hey, you can come over in my house and hold the trophy, but you're not going to jump on my squad just to get one of these. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's no loyalty. And you can hear all these people, and then I hear people at barbershops saying, oh, you're an old head. You don't get it. It's a different day and age. You're an old head, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, well, I just like that. I just like that old school mentality where it's like, if anything, you won 2 championships. Well, guess what? That's just going to motivate me to do a lot better because now I feel like some of these athletes feel entitled because, oh, I'm James Harden. I make so and so much money. I should be able to be an NBA champion by now. Like, it blows my mind, man.
And it's going to be the modern day Barkley.
Who?
Harden.
That'd be terrible.
Anyways.
But I agree with you 100%, Riggs, because if Jordan lost to Magic Johnson in the NBA Finals, and we know he didn't, but they played each other enough that they did have camaraderie and all that. If he would have lost to him, he wouldn't go play for him next year.
Because you want to beat that MFer.
He's like, I'm coming back. I'm coming back next year. I'm focusing on beating. I want to beat Magic Johnson. I want to beat the Lakers. That was Jordan's mentality. And then Jordan wanted that championship, and just because it was Chicago grew with, like, it was a big city, but it grew more and became a basketball city because of comes from Akron. Can you imagine what kind of thing he would have been able to build if he did what he's doing now and stayed? Like, he could have changed so many lives from Akron to Cleveland.
I mean, he still did, too, with the I Promise school.
He did.
But imagine that with more years around there, too. Exactly your point.
Yep.
But
it'd be like Jordan's basket. When you say Jordan, you think Chicago. Imagine if you said, like, LeBron, and you could literally think about how, like, everything he's done in this city and be like, oh, he sent 100 kids to college. He won 5 championships for a city that never even went to the NBA Finals before him, you know?
Yep, absolutely.
All hypotheticals. If it's and bugs for candy and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day.
And Christmas is coming up.
I agree. What'd you buy me?
You know that thing you sent me on Facebook? That, probably. And we'll just leave it at that. But before we end up going, obviously it was supposed to be Ohio State versus Michigan this week. It's not happening.
No.
Good news. Big Ten's working on the minimum requirements, and they should end up actually being in the Big Ten championship against Northwestern. On that note, though, we'll talk about that later on, probably at the First Stop show on Sunday, 11 to 12:45 at First Stop Bar and Grill in Parma this Sunday. We got Nick's Closet Party again. We got Parker Pierce. We might have Riggs. He probably works, though, but it's okay. We also have Brian producing. We might have Brandon come back out. But before we end up going, Brandon, we already talked about this early on in the show. Floyd Mayweather against Logan Paul. What are your thoughts?
Publicity stunt for the most of it, but that makes sense. And I kind of want to see Floyd just play with him and then hit him one time wrong and Floyd knock him the F out, man. Like, knock him into next month.
Yep, that's what I've been saying too. Just toy with him for a little bit and then go from there.
Is that this February in 21?
Yep, February 2021.
All right, well, we got to get some of the...
It's like me screwing around with Gerald. If you see Gerald and I just goofing around and we're wrestling and he holds me in a hold or something, which we've never done, just so I'm clear. But
You're talking about with your shirt off, right?
Wrestling, and then I swing an elbow and get him in the nose. He's gonna take me and put me down until I'm crying.
Because he's a trained fighter.
Exactly. We should get together. We all got to watch that when that happens.
What,
Seriously.
getting my ass kicked?
Well, no.
No, Mayweather versus Logan Paul.
Mayweather, Logan Paul.
Oh, I misunderstood you.
But anyways, on that note, Brandon, you've been on enough times. Everybody knows the product, but tell our fans of the WLEC Sports Podcast once again where they can find you, where they can find the Delight Cafe CBD crew at altogether, and just close out the show that way.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's the Light Cafe CBD, the only odorless, colorless, tasteless CBD for the person on the go. It's individually packed 15 milligrams of full spectrum hemp CBD, so you are able to add it to your pop, your coffee, put it in your ketchup for all you care. Find your calm, your balance, and your delight when you need it most. DelightCafe.com. Thanks, guys, so much for having me back.
Perfect. Thanks for coming on again, Brandon, and hopefully we'll see you Sunday if you got the free time. Again, Sunday, First Stop Bar and Grill in Parma, 11 to 12:45. Browns pregame, Week 14. They play Monday night. We're doing the show Sunday morning because we're crazy. Don't ask me why. That's just the rules of the game. Anyways, check us out. Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Thursday, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., YouTube. Subscribe. We're live right now on YouTube. Otherwise, catch us again next Wednesday, 7:30 to 9:30. We got big news. Riggs isn't going to be talking about Tony the Tiger anymore. He'll be okay. We'll act like that didn't happen, okay? Anybody at home that heard that, saw that, whatever, never happened. It was actually pre-recorded, and that wasn't Riggs' voice. That was actually on YouTube from some actor. I don't know.
Yep.
But anyways, we'll be back next week. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Make sure to tell your friends. And Riggs, what are you going to do once we get off air?
Well, when we get off air and my roommate's in his room sleeping and you're at your house nice and comfortable, I'm going to Manscaped. I'm going to use the promo code Sportz with the Z. But also, enough of that, shout out to Onyx Gym. Shout out to Hooligan and Coach. Shout out KM Voice. Shout out CBD Delight or Cafe CBD. But a shout out to all of you with the We Like Sports Podcast and our fans. Thank you, and have a great effing rest of your night.